Muted. Hey, you guys, shout out to everybody in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to my members. We have Cash in the house. Who else? Nicole Bryant. Welcome to my members. LG, shout out to you. Everybody that's coming in. Hey, Valerie, welcome. KT, everyone. Oh my gosh, Flash in the Pan. Love ya. Welcome, welcome. Mod, welcome. You guys, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Give you guys some time. Lysandra, welcome. Hey, Brianna. Hey. Phil, okay, Susu, thank you guys for coming. Welcome. You thought you missed a sinner. Welcome. Well, you're here. You didn't miss anything. Oh, yes. Happy Turkey Day to all the USA bunnies. Yes. Hey, Chico, welcome, welcome. Welcome, everybody from Iceland. Shout out to everybody from Iceland. Hey, Kiva, welcome, guys. Go check out, come get this commentary, you guys. Awesome content creator. She's a dope content creator. You guys got to go check her out as well. She's my mod and my member, so shout out to her as well. Hey, Patty, welcome. I got some announcements to make, just a couple, not too many, before we get started. Oh my gosh, my nose is running. Yes, happy Thanksgiving, Kalamazoo. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody over there. Look at that. What's going on, group? Absolutely. Hey, okay, we said hello, Iceland. You guys are all over the world. I love this internationalness. Hey, Lorena, estoy muy bien. ¿Cómo estás tú? Welcome. Thank you for greeting me. Yes. Hey, hey, hey. All right. I think we got like 50 people in the chat or so. It's late. People are getting into their Thanksgiving. I thought of you recently about this case. It was Lex, you did. You got to hit me up and let me know what case. This one specific? Yes, welcome, guys. Hey, Australia. Shout out to everybody from Australia. I think everybody's like, it feels already started. Look, this press conference was, that's what Phil just said. Shout out to Phil. I feel you, Phil. You and everybody else. Hey, Carol, welcome. Yes. Okay, what should we hit? All right, you guys got to help me out. You subbies have to help me out here. We got 70 people here. What's our like button goal should be? Like, let's set up a goal. You guys help me out. I told you guys have to hold me accountable to it. Every time you write in the chat, hit the like button. That's like you telling me, Rabbit, don't get distracted. Because, guys, I have severe ADHD. I'm not medicated. So, as you can know, I get distracted about everything and anything. So, what should our like goal be today? Hey, Ultra Dark CEO, welcome. I don't know. Put a number in the chat, guys. What should our goal be today? Let me see what you guys put. What should the goal? We have 73 people in so far. Yes. Hey, love is the key. Can we get a thing? We will absolutely twerk for everybody on Thanksgiving. Absolutely. We will definitely do that. We have some new members we have to twerk for to welcome them. Yes. 100, Matt. You think we can get 100? We only got like 70 people in here. I don't know if we can get to 100. I don't know. And the like button, you can only hit it so many times. I love this. So let me manifest it. 100 likes. 100 likes. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right. Let's get going with this. I just have a couple of updates to talk about. So membership updates. I created a new little tier. It's like a lower level tier where if you join, you're able to use a lot of the emojis. You'll get shout outs from it. You might get a post here and there, depending on what needs to be posted on that tier. I'm going to get really better about building up my membership program a little bit different. I'm thinking about starting a higher tier than what I currently have. So I have what just opened today, which is what take a peek or something like take a quick peek to now. And I have I stand with the rabbit, which is what a lot of you guys have. A lot of you guys are there. I'm going to start another tier called Rabbit Uncut. Okay. I talked a little bit about it on my community post because I feel like, if thank you, DJ Nashville joined. Thank you. Welcome, DJ. I'm looking at my other device. If I want to be able to talk about different things and not feel like I have to be so censored sometimes. And so then if my members are wanting a little bit more of that, I'm totally going to give it to you. Now, Rabbit Uncut is not OnlyFans. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way. Some of you funny, we're like saying, well, does that mean that Rabbit's not gonna, she's not gonna do no, craziness on YouTube. Okay, I'm trying to keep my YouTube. Okay, period. Yes. Okay. You guys are laughing. Don't laugh at me. Thank you. Thank you, DJ Nashville, for coming into becoming a member. All right, that's one, but I'm still working on that Rabbit Uncut. I haven't decided quite yet how to, market that and make sure that everybody gets their bang for their buck. Okay. Yeah, no, Cassie, you said it. There will be no tricks pulled. Okay. I'm just letting you know, you won't see any craziness, even though we do the rabbit twerks, but you guys know what I mean. Okay. Let's be adults. Okay. Update. Shanquella Robinson. So I've rescheduled the interview for tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, Thanksgiving. I had a conversation with Mr. Zuninga, Gerardo Zuninga, and we're going to talk tomorrow. It's going to be a pre-recorded. I don't know if it's going to be released tomorrow. It just really depends on, the Wi-Fi and how everything goes. But our schedules were kind of conflicting today. And, where everybody's prepping for Thanksgiving and stuff like that. So it totally makes sense for us to reschedule. So that's what we've done. So that's I don't know if that'll drop. It'll probably drop on Friday if it doesn't drop tomorrow. Everybody is going to be on Thanksgiving mode. I don't want to, kill it for anybody. Black Friday, everybody goes shopping. I don't do that. I'm actually at home, not staying away from the roads and people because people get crazy. But just wanted to bring a little bit of an update to that. Okay, so that is going to drop. We have it scheduled for tomorrow. And God willing, the Wi-Fi, internet, everything works because it's international and whatnot. So, things to kind of keep in mind. I got a little checklist going on. Shout out to everybody. Okay, you guys are coming in. Yes, thank you. All right. So did everybody drop a rabbit on the chat if you watch the conference today from the University of Idaho? Please let me know. Drop a rabbit on the chat if everybody watched it. We're going to watch a little bit of it because there was something that I wanted to come back to. That I was like, we gotta address this. Okay. The stalker. Okay. Where did I hear the stalker about it first? I had told you guys, we heard it from Mr. Mark I knew I heard it from Mr. Mark, in his, commentary about the situation. For those that don't know who Mr. Mark Fuhrman is, he is and I have another video on that too. Actually, let me play this first so you guys know what I'm talking about as far as the clip. Then we're going to play a little Mark Fuhrman history clip for everybody.
I talked to one student, and I agree with this. It was twice removed from the person that said it, Kaylee. But Kaylee 2 months ago complained about a stalker. I talked to one student, and I agree with this. It was twice removed from the person that said it, Kaylee. But Kaylee 2 months ago complained about a stalker.
Yes, Kaylee complained about a stalker.
And right? I agree with this. And it was twice removed from the...
I said, why is this man saying that? And how is he did he go and interview students? What did he do? And let me tell you why this bothered me so much. It's because it actually carried weight, which this clip can be found on Grizzly True Crime. You guys go check her out. She's a phenomenal content creator. Phenomenal. But let me go ahead and share with you guys something that really struck me. This clip right here really carried weight. Believe it or not, it had a lot of weight to what people were looking at and the conspiracy theories, right, that people were putting out about Kaylee and this being a targeted attack. Yeah, twice removed really bothers me. It's so crazy. So when he said that, everybody quoted him. Fox News, CBS News, everybody said, there's got to be a reason why I've heard it somewhere else. I'm just going to play this and you guys watch and you will see what I'm talking about.
And I said, well, I don't know if I believe that, meaning she'd pay. But that sounds great, Kaylee. And I'll see you on Tuesday, honey. And then she sent me a couple pictures of her and Maddie.
Yeah, wow. So to your point, she didn't sound like a young girl in distress over anything. Jimmy, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm optimistic from the standpoint that police are saying there's a lot of evidence, be it DNA, be it digital. I'm optimistic that we'll finally get some answers. But at the same time, I'm frustrated that we don't have them already. Because again, it is a narrow pool who would commit this crime. There is a lot of known information at this point, meaning if there is digital evidence, they have it. It doesn't take a week to get it. If the crime scenes, heaven forbid, are sloppy, they have that DNA evidence as well. So, you know, from an optimistic standpoint, I mean, and there's certainly nothing upbeat about the story, you want to believe we're less than 24 to 48 hours from some type of a direction. Because personally, it's surprising. If this went on the 12th of November and we're sitting here over a week later, knowing how quickly they can geotag phones, knowing how quickly they can turn around DNA evidence, you know, you want to believe we'd have something by now. And my only guess is maybe they do, but they're just trying to make this case concrete before they bring it forward, is what I want to believe.
You know, I think it's interesting too. Former LAPD detective Mark Fuhrman indicated that he talked to a student on campus where Kaylee had a stalker that she had talked about a couple months ago. Obviously.
See, I said I heard it somewhere else, and it was here. It's so interesting, right? Former LA detective Mark Fuhrman spoke to a couple of students. They didn't say twice or 3 times removed. They said a couple of students that Kaylee had a stalker. This is what became commentary for everyone. So this is what this man kind of started there.
Obviously, that's a person of interest. It's a rarity that you have someone stalk you on campus. If that person existed, obviously that would be a key suspect that you'd want to speak to if you're law enforcement.
Well, and one of the things recently in today's era is social media. And so they're combing through not only Kaylee's social media, but her friends and those around her, who's liking her posts. And, you know, obviously being a mother thinking about this is very upsetting. So she just bought a new car. She was getting ready to go backpacking all across Europe. She was obviously making money somehow. So they're going to be looking at everything, the friends, the social media, but also, you know, where is she working? These are all going to be persons of interest. So I think the pool is very broad when it started, and hopefully they are able to narrow it down at this point.
Well, and to the point of this possible stalker mentioned by former LAP detective Mark Fuhrman, the parents did talk last night about how aware Kaylee was of her safety on campus and off campus. We have a clip of that sound too. Let's listen to that.
So he was quoted in bigger platforms, right? So I'm just thinking, right, because clearly you have the narrative that this was a target, right? And that could still very well be the case. Don't get me wrong. After today's conference, I sat there and I said, well, we still don't know anything more than what we've already been told and or know, right? But I think Mark Fuhrman did not do a very good job here and just kind of inserted himself for whatever reason to give commentary. I get it. The guy's an LAPD detective, ex-retired guy. Look, but it went so far as the Moscow police having to put out that investigators have looked intensely into information they received about Kaylee having a stalker. They have pursued hundreds of pieces of information related to this topic and have not been able to verify or identify a stalker. If you have information that could help detectives, and there you have their tip line and their phone number, as well as the FBI. This guy literally just said he talked to a couple of friends there. And my thought was like, well, hello, Mr. Detective, ex-retired guy. Why would you insert yourself in that, given the reputation that you already have, sir? It really rubbed me the wrong way. And these people kind of went with it because, you know, I don't know. It was just, and I think for a lot of us, what it tells us, especially us that are not in Fox, CBS News, or all this other places, and we're not in the crime scene, that we need to be careful how we say things and report things, because these people literally picked it up and ran.
Our son went to that college. No, absolutely not.
My daughter was aware of her environment.
Very aware.
She turned her camera on. She would film when she thought somebody was following her out of a mall parking lot or a grocery store.
I mean, she would think somebody was following her, and she would call me and say, "Mom, I think there's somebody following me." And I'm like, "Well, Kaylee, call the police," you know. And then she'd say, "Oh, never mind," you know. Just, I mean, she was aware, you know, and very aware.
You know, Anita, one thing that really struck me when I heard that last night on Lawrence Jones was, did she have people who we had heard about a stalker? Was she having people who were following her? I mean, how far back does this actually go? And is this as random and as they're making it seem?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah. Well, I hear her talk about her daughter being safety conscious and calling her.
And if it's a targeted attack, then yeah, the story of the stalker would make sense, right? Clark, the realtor, says, at first, when I heard about this case, I was like, it could have been someone inside, possibly a suicidal situation, but I'm totally confused. Even after listening to the conference, shit, I don't know. You know what, though? And that was my thought too, Clark. I was like, what if it's somebody that was already waiting for them inside? Like, if it's targeted, right? And my thought, if it's targeted, then I don't know, yo. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, was the target Kaylee and Maddie? Because they were pretty close together. Maybe somebody that they met. That could very well be the case. And this is just commentary, speculation, guys. But I wanted to put this out there about Mr. Mark Fuhrman. Now, let me give you that little history thing, a very quick clip on Mr. Mark, who has to also give commentary to all this stuff, and who was a former LAPD. He was in the O.J. Simpson trial. I think he was the one. And guys, I was pretty young when O.J. was going on. So if I don't know all the details about the O.J. Simpson trial, other than the Bronco, the if you don't fit, it must acquit. Of course, that's the line that I'll always remember as a criminology student, right? But I don't remember all the details in terms of this case. I know that he played a huge part in terms of audio and some of the evidence, and he was really the one that kind of, messed up the case for the prosecution, basically. But let's go ahead and play this for you guys.
It was a turning point in the O.J. Simpson trial when it stopped being about the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman and turned into a drama focused on rogue detective Mark Fuhrman.
We intend to show in incident after incident that Detective Fuhrman was willing to violate the law and the federal civil rights statute to unfairly prosecute black men who he found in the company of white women.
Fuhrman denied those allegations, but when he took the stand, famed defense attorney F. Lee Bailey laid the trap.
You say on your oath that you have not addressed any black person as a or spoken about black people as in the past 10 years, Detective Fuhrman.
That's what I'm saying, sir.
But audio tapes existed of Fuhrman using the N-word in interviews with a screenwriter who was researching a movie about cops.
This guy should not be able to talk to anybody related to any criminal justice investigation, any case whatsoever, in my opinion. Yo, sir, you have made your bed back in 19 whatever, when all this went down, and you should probably, try to get away from the commentary, contacting any potential suspects or victims. And this is somebody that was doing detective work, okay? So I just find that to be pretty disgusting. Yeah, it's so crazy. Fake friends, like Sean Quella's case, things that make me go, things that make you go, things that make you go, ooh, okay. Yeah, why does anyone think the target may be, you know what, and I don't even know. But that's a good point. Xana could have been the target, right? Ethan could have been the target. Anybody could have been. I mean, they're not here to really tell what happened. And even the people that were there, we have no information, right? We really don't. Yes, damn. I mean, it's just too much. With the defense wounds from the young woman, the DNA, hopefully they will find her. I hope so too. Is OJ looking for the real killer? You guys are funny. Mel, yes. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Come on here. 87 likes, guys. You guys set the goal for 100. Make sure you guys hit that like button. 163 people here. You guys, I don't ask for much, but the like does kind of help my channel. So if you could do that for me, that would be awesome. Oh, okay. Oh, I just sinner. He said fudge that guy. Wow. And the clan country intervening. Wow. See, I didn't even know all that, yo. Let's keep watching this clip, okay? Let's keep watching this Inside Edition.
The moment the defense team learned about the tapes was dramatized on The People versus O.J. Simpson.
God brought us these tapes. There's something much larger at play here. This is manna from heaven.
When Fuhrman was called back to the stand, he knew he was sunk and took the fifth.
I wish to assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
The existence of the tapes destroyed Fuhrman's credibility and fatally damaged the prosecution's case.
How do you intellectualize when you punch the hell out of he either deserves it or he doesn't?
If
there hadn't been Mark Fuhrman, this was a case that they could have won.
Famed defense.
Yeah, Sinner. I thank you for your super chat, by the way. I would have to agree with that. Let me tell you guys something. It is so, he's trying to be the new John Walsh. Nice try. Nice try. I mean, even Mark, shout out to Mark Class, by the way. If you guys remember, this is, I actually did interview Mr. Mark Class, and I had put the interview on my community tab. You guys got to go check it out. He was the one that his daughter, Polly Class, was abducted. She was the first face on the internet when she went abducted, when she was abducted at that time. So you guys got to go check it out. Yeah, I don't know about Mr. Mark, and I think that this is the kind of the stuff that he really needs to stay away from, because it could really hinder investigations. You put out there about a stalker from a twice friend removed, like either they're friends or they're not, and with the younger generation, it's pretty black and white sometimes. Like, I don't know. Is it just me? Yeah, Mark. And I was going to say Marky Mark, but that's the wrong Mark to even say Marky Mark.
Defense attorney Alan Dershowitz was a member of Simpson's dream team.
It just, in the minds of the jury, confirmed what we had been trying to prove, that the LAPD commit test-lying, that is, that they committed perjury on the witness stand, and that they tampered with evidence. So it was a gift.
Instead of Simpson being convicted, Fuhrman became the only man convicted of a crime arising out of the murders. He was sentenced to 3 years probation for perjury.
It was one of those doomed feelings.
In an interview in 1997, Fuhrman told Deborah he actually tried to have the tapes destroyed.
Oh, absolutely. Wouldn't you?
Oh, muted. He said, "Oh, absolutely. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you have the tapes destroyed? Of course, right? Because that's what you would expect your officers of the law to do, right? To tamper with evidence, destroy evidence, set people up, right? Like, that's the kind of bullshit that you would want your LAPD doing. This is ridiculous. Thank you. Oh, you did, Carol. All right. So before I end the live today, I'll show you guys exactly where to go to find those interviews. If you're bored with the family, not that everybody should be bored, because I know people are going to be cooking and doing stuff. I love my family. After a while, it's like we gotta go ways, because everybody will drive each other crazy. But I'll show you guys those videos. You guys can go check them out. I actually got to interview Mark Class with the plaintiff's chain. It was the first time I had ever shown my face, so it was a really good interview, and I loved it. Shout out to Mr. Mark Class. But let's go ahead and watch this and give some commentary to the Moscow Police Department homicide investigation update of today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm like, let's hurry up. Why are we taking so long? Should probably forward it, huh?
Try and extend it today to be a little bit longer, so that way more people have the opportunity to ask questions. We have a gentleman who will be passing around a microphone, and he does not know what organization you're from, and so this will so it's purely random. So please keep questions to 1 or 2, and we'll try and get to as many people as possible. So thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Chief James Fry with the Moscow Police Department. Joining me today is Captain Roger Lanier with the Moscow Police Department, Moscow Deputy City Supervisor Tyler Palmer, Colonel Kedrick Wills of the Idaho State Police, University of Idaho President Scott Green, University of Idaho Dean of Students Blaine Eccles, and Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson. We are thankful for all the tips and leads the public has provided in Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison's murder investigation. No bit of information is too small, and every tip will be pursued. So far, this information has helped investigators build a picture of the areas of interest and the relationships these four had with each other and our community. We still believe there's more information to be gathered, which will continue creating a window through which we view this case. We all want to understand why this happened and what drove someone to do this. The families of those involved and our entire community deserve to know. We ask anyone with any information related to what happened with these four who are in our community, their interaction with others, and whether they expressed concern or commented about someone or something strange to get that information to us. Even if you don't believe it is relevant, investigators will review and determine if and how your information builds the picture. Sometimes what a video or picture doesn't show is equally as important as what might be there.
Yes, thank you, Valerie. And it's not Moscow, sorry. Moscow. Thank you. Let me not put a W out there. Thank you for correcting me. Shelly says, and you know what? This is a good point, okay? And I'd like to know everybody's thoughts on this. I don't think, and this is what she says, I disagree with people can change their ways. That's like saying no criminal can ever be rehabilitated. I think that those are two different things, but I'm hearing what you're saying. Mr. Fuhrman isn't the best person, but it doesn't make him unfit to comment on criminal justice system. You know, and that's a very good point. What I'm saying, and it's not even about him commenting, it's about him giving information in an active criminal investigation, where it's really, as someone who is a former law enforcement, should probably be careful with that. Just my thought. It doesn't mean that he's unfit. It makes him it almost makes him look like he's got something else in there that he wants to know. He knows better. That's what I'm saying. But let's keep playing.
Information on how to submit tips and updates on the investigation can be found on the Moscow Police Department webpage. We continue moving forward to understand why this occurred in our community and seek answers to bring justice for the victims and their loved ones, because they deserve it. I personally want you to know we care, and we will continue to work hard to get these answers for these individuals. At this time, I'd like to introduce Captain Roger Lanier for an update on what we can currently share about this investigation.
Good afternoon. I'm Captain Roger Lanier with the Moscow Police Department. I want to assure you, first off, that the loss of Xana, Kaylee, Madison, and Ethan remains the highest priority for the Moscow Police Department. We will continue putting all of our resources into investigating and solving these murders. Investigators are prepared to work through the Thanksgiving holiday to continue their efforts. I also want to express our sincere appreciation to the Idaho State Police, the FBI, University of Idaho, and the Lake County Sheriff's Office for their assistance. And I especially want to thank the community of Moscow for their outpouring of support through this incredibly difficult time. Today, I'm going to recap in brief what we know. I'm going to provide some new information, and I'm going to address some rumors. On the evening of November 12th and into the early morning hours of November 13th, Kaylee and Madison arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. after visiting a local bar and a street food vendor. Ethan and Xana were also out in the community at Sigma Chi, and they arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. Two surviving roommates who were also out in the community arrived home at approximately 1 a.m. Later, on the morning of November 13th at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed. The call reported an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence, and a surviving roommate's cell phone was used. During that call, the dispatcher spoke to multiple people who were on scene. Moscow police officers responded and found two victims, two on the second floor and two on the third floor of 1122 King Road. The results of autopsies indicated that the four were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds, and there was no sign of sexual assault. We do not believe the following individuals were involved: the two surviving roommates, the male seen in a grub truck video circulating on the internet, a private party who drove Kaylee and Madison home, any of the individuals who spoke to the dispatcher on the 911 call. We're all
Okay, so I appreciate that they're kind of clearing information for us a little bit, Leanna. Leanna says, I'm confused. They say that they died in their sleep, but for the amount of blood on the outer wall, they could not have still been asleep. What outer wall? Are you talking about that foundation picture, which I think has been said to have been oil, like leaking from the foundation of the home? It turns out it was not blood. And again, that wasn't even anything that, I don't know if that was, yeah, that's something that I think would need to be looked at. I thought somebody said it was actually oil from the house. Yes. No, Shelly, you're right about that. I heard the same thing too. Later on, that they were saying that that's oil from the house. I really wish I would have talked about that in this conference, because I don't think that that was blood, but I don't know. I'm not an expert in that area, but let me know. Blood splatter and all that other stuff. And could actually have come out of the foundation? And no, it's not blood, it's the electric. Okay, good to know. Good to know.
We're also aware of a male whom Madison and Kaylee had called several times the morning of November 13th, and we do not suspect that individual. Detectives have canvassed the neighborhoods looking for evidence, physical evidence, video surveillance, and they've contacted numerous residents to see if anybody may have seen or heard anything. They continue requesting tips. They can be sent to our tip line or called in to our tip line. The specific areas that we're interested in are detailed on maps on our city website and our Facebook page, but as stated earlier, generally south of Taylor Avenue to Palouse River Drive, and the area west of US 95 over to the Arboretum. We have heard mention that Kaylee stated she may have had a stalker. Detectives have been looking into that, and to this point have been unable to corroborate the statement, although we continue to seek information and tips regarding that report. No suspects have been named or arrested, and we continue looking for what we believe to be a fixed blade knife used in the murders. We have not released the names of any of the subjects who spoke on the 911 call, and we have not released the call itself. Any online reports of the victims being tied and gagged are not accurate. Regarding the resources that we've put forth in this investigation,
Any online reports about the victims being tied or gagged are not accurate. Yeah, so what do you guys think about that? Hey, Torres here, welcome. Good to see you. Hey, Melissa Bell, I'm seeing everybody kind of come in. Shout out to everybody. The oil and blood term doesn't matter in terms of catching the perp, just suggested if the gruesome scene or not. Good point. Good, but right, baby bunny, she said. Good point. Good point, guys. Okay, so the gagging and tying is not accurate. Okay, so, and I would think that that would also have taken a lot of time to do, right? If it's one or two people, and have they even confirmed how many people might be involved? What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is one person or two people? You guys let me know. Lori says, got to come over and give Facebook chat some love. Oh, yes. And shout out to everybody from the Facebook family, guys. I'm learning how to use it and engage everybody in chat. So I apologize. But thank you, Lori, for doing that. Shout out to you. Fuhrman has no right to spread misinformation or theories. His name carries too much weight, good or bad. I think anybody that's in law enforcement, right? Like, your name would carry a lot of weight if you're in law enforcement, not to mention the amount of people he can reach via mainstream media channels. He should be spitting facts only and helping. I like what you said, Lori. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. All right, you guys think it's one person, one person. Okay, let's keep watching.
Moscow Police Department has 4 detectives, 24 patrol officers, and 5 support staff dedicated to this investigation. The FBI has 22 investigators in Moscow and 20 additional agents assigned in various locations, as well as 2 members of the Behavioral Analysis Unit. The Idaho State Police has 20 investigators, a public information team, a forensic services and crime scene team, and 15 uniformed troopers who have been valuable in helping provide community patrols and safety patrols. We very much appreciate their support. This is our highest priority. It will remain our highest priority. We owe that to the families. At this time, I would like to introduce Colonel Kedrick Wills from the Idaho State Police.
Let me ask you guys a question in the chat, because I'm looking, I want to know something. You said, somebody said it here, one alone, or that someone is connected, or Lex Lux. Let me ask you a question, and everybody else can answer to this too, please, because I'm kind of curious to know what everybody thinks. Is it possible that it's one person, but somebody knew it was going to happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, if they said it was a targeted attack, is it, thank you, accessory, like somebody knew it was going to happen? Hey, Bella, I'm just kind of curious to know. Hey, Miss Dailies, welcome. is it possible that the killer and or killers, it could have been one person that definitely did it, but there was other people involved based on the fact that they knew it was going to happen? Ooh, that's a loaded question, but I'm curious to know what you guys think.
Thank you, Captain, and thank you for those that are in attendance today for your attendance. We really appreciate this. What has affected Moscow and the community here has affected all of us as Idahoans. We have a way in Idaho that the communities come together in tough times, and this is one of those tough times. Leads from the community are important, and as the captain spoke, no tip is too small, and we would urge anybody that has any information whatsoever to please provide that to help us solve this case. The lead agency of this case is Moscow Police Department with Chief Fry and his dedicated team of professionals, and the Idaho State Police's role is to support them and their good work here. There is an awful lot of efforts going on behind the scenes, and I'll explain why it's behind the scenes in just a moment. But what can't be seen isn't always known of what we do in law enforcement, and I'd like to explain that in just a moment. But the Idaho State Police and the FBI continue to provide resources to this investigation. I would like to speak for just a moment, if I could, not about this specific case, but rather an overview of how cases are investigated, so that maybe it'll give some sense of the why of the timeline here. We understand you want answers. We want answers too. But these take time, and if I could explain just a minute about the process here of what we go through just generally in investigations. So we use in advanced investigative techniques and crime scene processing. So what happens when a call comes in, the original officers, the first officers that respond to a scene, and then once that they've got their work there and determined that they need some additional investigative assistance, then they call investigators to come and help process that scene. And oftentimes it requires a forensics team to help process that scene. And when I say process the scene, what we're looking for is any evidence that may help us to be able to find the people or person responsible for what we're seeing. And so we're collecting biological evidence, we're collecting latent evidence, whether it's shoe prints or tire marks or anything like that. We're trying to collect that evidence. We're trying to we do that through photographs. We do that through 3D mapping to be able to map the scene. We identify.
Why do you guys think that he's over here kind of telling us everything that they do and how they do it in crime scene? Do you guys feel like they've been pressured by the community maybe to like hurry up and do this and hurry up and get some answers? Kind of curious to know what you guys think about that. I've talked to law enforcement, and my reading means something. They need to question me. Okay. And let me tell you something. I'm just gonna be honest. I definitely respect anybody that does readings and stuff like that. But for me, I'm just not a huge believer in psychics. Okay. I'm letting you guys know. Not only that, I don't know. I have my own feelings about that. That being said, though, I like to kind of have commentary about this, but be very careful what we speculate, because it's just a reading, if that's what it is. That's just my thought, my honest feelings about it. But let's keep watching.
We mark evidence, and then we collect that evidence. And then we look for any evidence that we think may be helpful. And once that is done, then we package all that evidence up and we send it off to forensics laboratories to be analyzed to see if it can help provide clues of what's happening. All of this takes an immense amount of time. The reason this is important to understand is because it's important that while this is such a tragic circumstance that we find ourselves in law enforcement, we believe we owe this to the surviving families to get this right. And so we're not willing to sacrifice speed for quality. We do testing for blood, we do latent print processing, any documentations for anything at the scene so that we can reconstruct that scene at a later date. If I could share just a few statistics of this particular crime scene. At this crime scene, we collected 103 pieces of individual evidence. We took approximately 4,000 photographs. We've conducted multiple 3D scans of the residence, and we have hundreds of hours used by technicians and investigators, including our forensics team and detectives from multiple agencies. We've processed over 1,000 total tips and conducted 150 interviews. I hope that you understand that gives a little bit of a perception of just how complex this case is. We have the utmost confidence in this investigation and that this investigation will be done right. We ask you and we ask the public to please remain patient as this investigation unfolds, and please rely on official sources of information. We really appreciate the media's assistance. We know you have a job to do. We know that you're professionals and you do it to the best of your ability.
It definitely feels like a little bit of a plea, but let me know what you guys think about it. I'm looking at everybody's comments. Absolute pressure, says Patty. College students and parents feel vulnerable. I would want answers too. Let's just be real. Like, we need to have some answers to this situation. Melissa says, oh, I'm sure that they felt pressure. Can you imagine all the calls? Yeah, right? Definitely. Is there a website you recommend that you can go check out a person's background and family line as private citizens? It's so funny. I used to have this was years ago. One of my professors used to say, you should always do background checks on anybody that you date and anybody that you're planning to do business with. I mean, because that's your most vulnerable time, right? Falling in love and having a business deal. Like, you should definitely do that. I don't know, there's public websites, but just so you guys are aware. Yes. Let's see. Bella says they have to tell the public something, given though that it's not a lot. It's not giving any information. It's not really giving any information. I'm not a blood splatter expert either, but I thought they said it was confirmed to be blood. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe not. Some twists and turns. Yo, Chico says I respect the answer. I do. I definitely do. One of the victim's sister was telling the other students to get out. It's not safe right now. Yeah, right? You guys are funny in this chat. They are pretty used to criticism from the public. I bet they would have to be. I mean, this is pretty huge. And it sounds like, but they have a lot of support and a lot of resources. So maybe they will get some answers here pretty quick. What do you guys think? Yeah, it sounds like they don't know. They don't know shit to you. Mar, I don't think they know a whole lot, but maybe they do, or maybe they have somebody in mind, but they can't really say a whole lot, Yeah, they work for the community. People are scared. Definitely, this stuff takes time. It sounds like to me they dropped. Kimberly says they dropped the ball with this investigation up until now, and they are trying to justify that they should have a job tomorrow. Oh, Kimberly, you think so? Yeah, there's websites you can do that. I'm just saying, if you're most vulnerable, dating and business deals, you guys should check those out. Okay. When the Florida Ripper was killing all those college students in the 90s, it took them a little bit to finally find out who it was, since it was a homeless dude living in the woods. Ooh. I do love the openness of the police department, but I also think that it makes them a little bit vulnerable in their research. Yeah, good advice. Listen, that was a criminal justice professor that told me that. Background checks on, because you're vulnerable when you fall in love, and you're vulnerable when you're making business decisions. 2 times to actually look into things. Just saying, but let's keep watching.
And we're thankful that you're here, because without you, we could not get the correct information to the community that could help us solve this. So I can't overemphasize how much I appreciate, and we appreciate in law enforcement, your willingness to do this. What you are doing matters. And it matters in what we are committed to doing, and that is the best way we can think of to honor these victims and their families is to conduct this investigation correctly. Finally, I'd like to share that I've been in regular contact with Idaho's Governor Brad Little throughout this investigation. Governor Little is making available up to $1 million for expenses related to this ongoing investigation. As you heard, the resources that are here in Moscow and throughout with this investigation, you can see that those expenses would add up quickly. Like all Idahoans, Governor Little is deeply saddened by the loss of these 4 bright and promising young lives. And he's making sure the state of Idaho provides all of the resources possible to ensure that the person or persons responsible for this are brought to justice. And now I'd like to turn the time over to the University of Idaho President, Scott Green.
The president did like an individual video, which was very nice, honoring the victims as well. Yeah, Ray, there was a shooting at the Walmart. There's a shooting at the nightclub, at Nightclub Q, I think. It's just been a little bit crazy, yo. It's a little too much going on right now. And this is why I say I stay away from stores, malls. If I don't have to go to a gas station, I won't. I'm sorry. In the holidays, it's just a little too crazy for me. People get they just get a little bit too much. But then again, you gotta have to wonder what is triggering all of this too,
Good afternoon. I'm Scott Green, President of the University of Idaho. We deeply appreciate the kind words of support we have been receiving from our alumni and friends, as well as many others who may not know us but have taken time to reach out. People are donating to the victims' GoFundMe pages and the Bruce Pittman Fund for Students in Need, and they're buying personal devices for our students and continuing to look for other ways that they can help. This is what it means to be a vandal. In the last 24 hours, we have sent updated communications to our students, employees, parents, and alumni. And in those communications, we discuss campus security, services available to our students and employees, our plans for both remote and live instruction to close the semester, and our plans for a candlelight vigil on November 30. All of this is available on our website. We all want swift justice and continue to work with law enforcement to aid them in any way helpful to their investigation. As the investigation continues, we will better know how to proceed in the new year. We will endeavor to find the balance among safety concerns, the need to grieve, and the long-term needs of all of our students and employees. To everything we do, we will keep Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan, as well as their families and friends, in our thoughts and our prayers. Thank you. I'm sorry, I need to introduce Deputy City Supervisor Tyler Palmer. Sorry.
Good afternoon. My name is Tyler Palmer. I'm Deputy City Supervisor with the City of Moscow, and I'm here today on behalf of Mayor Arthur Betke, the Moscow City Council, and Moscow City Administration. The loss of Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan has sent an overwhelming, palpable wave of grief, confusion, sorrow, and anger through our peaceful community. Mayor Betke, with the support of our City Council, has instructed staff to marshal all necessary resources for our law enforcement professionals as they diligently work to assure the safety of every member of this community and find the person or people responsible for this. The outpouring of support, kindness, and genuine empathy locally and even globally has been a humbling reminder that those who want to help far outnumber those who want to hurt. And we take some solace in that. To all of you who've reached out, sent letters and cards, provided food for those working around the clock on this investigation, and offered other resources, we thank you sincerely. These continued acts of charity and humanity remind us why we live in this tight-knit, caring community. The City of Moscow is committed to seeing this investigation through to a successful end and will continue to dedicate whatever resources are necessary for that effort. We are thankful for the immense support from the University of Idaho, Latah County, Governor Little and his office.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, Cash. It's a heck of a time to investigate. There's a lot happening around the world. Everybody is a lot going on. Yes, and Ray, sorry for your loss as well. It sounds like you might have known one of the victims in the Walmart shooting. We appreciate you. Thank you. Again, I'm just kind of wondering too, it's a lot going on. It's a lot. It's a crazy time too. You think it sounds like damage control to you? I mean, it's a lot of resources to put into place, but I think they're needed. Georgia did it to Quentin Simon. Can't remember exactly where they used their money. I don't know, yo. I don't know. It's a lot. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, you can hit me up. Let me put my email out here. If I'm able to, I could definitely look into it. It sounds like a lot of people are giving it. My gosh, where's my banner? One second, guys. You can hit me up on my email. It's also in the About Me page on the channel, okay? Feel free to hit me up there. And anybody else that might have something else to add into there. I've seen authorities, our public servants screw to meet times have competence. They ain't got nothing. No. Okay. Do we know that they ruled out the 2 surviving housemates? They did. They did rule out the 2 surviving housemates. It's sad, but it's a lot. So, I mean, can you imagine, you know, you're whether you're the parent of the student or just you're in college and you're thinking spring break finals, or not spring break, I'm sorry. I don't think they call it winter break, but Thanksgiving break or whatever they call it now. Finals, and you're, you know, doing stuff, and then this happens. It's like, this is not something that people expect. Not only for the families and the victims and the community as well.
The Idaho State Police and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Moscow's my home. And I know we won't be defined by tragedy, but how we respond to it. We mourn the loss of these beautiful young people, and we will relentlessly pursue justice on their behalf. Thank you.
So we would like to open it up to any questions, but I would like to ask if there's an Argonaut reporter here that would like to ask, and then second after that, an Evergreen reporter if there's one in the room. So let's start with the Argonaut, please.
James Torman Aldrich with the Argonaut. I have two questions, if that's all right. Firstly, being what the police presence is going to look like after Thanksgiving break and how long that's going to last.
So I'll go ahead and answer. The police presence is going to be very heavy after the break. We have Idaho State Patrol that will also still be in the area, and you'll see a high impact of patrol officers and troopers, as well as Latah County Sheriff's Department personnel in the area.
And then secondly, will there be any possibility of the release of the 911 phone call, even in transcript form?
Not at this time. That's part of our investigation.
Frankie Beer, the Daily Evergreen. I guess the Moscow PD press release mentioned looking into hundreds of pieces of information about Kaylee's potential stalker. I was wondering what led you to believe she did have a stalker possibly, and why those pieces of information haven't come up with conclusive results.
I'm actually going to.
And the stalker got mentioned on this conference today, guys. Definitely got mentioned on the conference. Okay, they had to bring in the other officer, but let's go see. Let's just see what the answer is.
Let Captain Lanier answer this question, okay?
Thank you, Chief. We obtained information through some of our interviews that Kaylee had made some comments about a stalker, so that's where that came from. We have followed up looking at specific time frames in specific areas of town. So far, we have not been able to corroborate it, but we're not done looking into that piece of information.
Dan Springer, Fox News. If I can get Captain Lanier. Sir, why not tell the public who the target was? You've said that this was a targeted attack. Why not tell the public who was targeted? If it was multiple people, it would go a long ways to telling the public what you're looking for and who you're looking for, the type of person you're looking for. Why not do that to alleviate some of the fears out there in the community?
Well, first and foremost, we have the integrity of the investigation to preserve. And we feel like that information is integral to us and how we conduct our investigation. Releasing that to the public may or may not flood us with a lot of information that's not relevant or specific to what we're looking at. So we do want more information, but we don't want to put our investigation in jeopardy by releasing what we have. There's always a balance between what you're willing to release versus what you're trying to gather. We told the public very clearly from the beginning that we're looking for a knife. We've told the public very clearly from the beginning that we believe it was a targeted attack. I mean, to be honest, you're going to have to trust us on that at this point, because we're not going to release why we think that.
There you go. It was a pretty direct to the media, you know. You're going to have to trust us at this point, because we're not going to release that. Clark says, did I mishear something at the last conference? I thought he said that the two additional roommates were home the whole time. And yeah, I heard that too. So I don't even know. Were they home, or did the crime happen before they got home? I'm so confused too. Because it sounds like they were asleep. That's what I heard, that they were asleep. Thank you, Ithaca. Thank you. Welcome, guys. I think the two others were killed, came home about the time the two girls arrived. Then the other two who weren't killed arrived later. So oh my God. So this is what I'm saying. I wonder if he was already there in the house kind of waiting. If it was a targeted attack, maybe he had a target and he's like, I'm going to wait here in this room or in a closet or somewhere, and then go about my attack that way and take out these specific people. I don't know.
Lauren Patterson, Northwest Public Broadcasting. I see that the FBI set up a special web page just to collect digital information. I'm also curious if any of the investigators can speak to this. Curious if the Wi-Fi hotspot has been tapped at all. It's possible if the suspect had their phone on them, it may have pinged off the Wi-Fi in the residence. Has that been checked on at all?
As I stated, our investigation is looking at every avenue of every piece of evidence that we can. The FBI has given us a website for any downloads of video or anything. So we ask people, if you have any of that, to send it to us, please.
Thank you. Natasha Chen, CNN. I have a couple of questions here. One, in many homicide cases, the first hours, the first days are so incredibly crucial. Now that we're moving into a window that's further and further away from the incident, Does that concern you about the ability to arrest a suspect, or do you have information that you simply can't share with us that makes you confident that you're close to solving this?
I'm going to have the Colonel step up and address that, please. Well, thank you for the question, and I would like to address it a little more globally than specifically, a little more globally here. Yesterday, as time goes on, I mean, we're time past the initial calls for service and the initial crime. However, we also, as time goes on, are able to process the forensics evidence, any forensics evidence that we may have collected, and so that helps us. And we're also able to process the tips that continue to come in, which may help us. And so, while time in one respect is not beneficial, in another respect it is, because it helps provide us with that whole picture of with all of the information that we're gathering, whether it's evidence or tips or any other information that we're gathering. It may help us to provide a clearer picture, and so it may help answer those questions that we're seeking as well.
Hi, Angela Palermo, Idaho Statesman. I was wondering if there's any evidence that suggests the attacker visited the first floor where the 2 surviving roommates were.
That information will not be released at this time. It's part of our investigation. And as we stated earlier, there's many things that are involved in investigation that we will release and things we won't.
Good afternoon, Ashley Soriano, Fox News. I have 2 questions. Have you considered the possibility of a murder-suicide? Is that something that you guys are considering right now?
That's a great question. Hey, Nicole, that's a great question.
That question has been asked previously, not at a press conference. It's certainly something that we looked at in the early part of the investigation. It is not something that we're looking at this time.
And I know some of the investigators' vehicles and police vehicles are coming in and out of the driveway. Do you think that potentially could disturb any tire marks or other evidence?
Yeah, so the question has been asked about why did the crime scene tape expand, and that's not uncommon. When the first officers arrived, they tried to cordon off what they thought was important. We immediately expanded that when the investigators got there to process the scene. And logically, as this progresses, and you've seen this through our press releases, we have expanded it to several areas of the city and have in fact canvassed entire neighborhoods. So we try very, very hard to uncover every single bit of evidence possible in an area before we move on to the next area. So yes, we've looked at everything that we think we need to look at in and around the crime scene at this point. Well, it's a gravel parking area, so it would be hard to say that.
How are you folks holding up? How are your detectives and officers holding up? And Chief, you mentioned that detectives are prepared to work tomorrow on Thanksgiving. So,
all right, so we got them working. Yeah. Could the person had came in with the 2 roommates, then they arrived at 1 a.m.? I don't know, because the girls would have probably mentioned that. I don't know. I thought so too. That's a great question. Wow, they don't have any new leads. Now, Flyer, I think, made a really good question point, or at least a good thing to maybe consider. If it was a murder-suicide, wouldn't the knife be in the house? Well, wouldn't you already know who the perpetrator is? If it was a murder-suicide too? I think I didn't even think of it that way, right? But I don't know. It sounds like they're still trying to rule out a lot of things. Susu said that this reminds her of the Brian Laundrie case. So many questions, nothing answered. Right. So many questions and not a lot of answers. They probably, what did Patty say? They probably called about Ethan being non-responsive. It's rumored that he was the only one outside his room. Ooh, Patty, I didn't even think of that. Right, Saucy? Thank you, guys. Let me keep playing this because we're going to have to end here pretty soon.
What is the expectation that they will be?
That is correct. We're going to have many detectives and agents working all the way through this incident. Our people are dedicated. Our people care about this community. Our people want to ensure the community that we're here to bring safety, and we're here to get a resolve on this. So we will continue to push through. We'll give people time off as they need it, and we will continue to take care of them. But we're gonna keep pushing on this until we come to a conclusion.
Chris Mitchell, KLEW. Is there any plans to increase security for the Apple Cup on Friday?
I can't speak to what's going on in the state of Washington. I can only speak to what we're doing here on the campus of the University of Idaho. In concert with President Green and his team, we are absolutely, with the Idaho State Police and the Moscow Police Department, we are 100% dedicated to making sure that this continues to be a safe place for students to do what students need to do. And so that's why we have so many uniformed troopers here that aren't necessarily assisting with the investigation, but rather here to help with the campus security. And President Green and his team have been fantastic in helping to strike that balance to make sure that we have law enforcement resources here. So while I can't speak what's going on anywhere else, I can tell you at the University of Idaho, we have a lot of state troopers, and a severe increase of state troopers and Moscow police officers here, both on campus as well as throughout the community.
John Bell, ABC News. Are investigators looking at any possible connection to an unsolved double stabbing in the Salem, Oregon area about a year and a half ago? Specifically, 2 people stabbed in their home in the middle of the night, long knife, no suspect at this point. One died, one survived.
I think we're looking at every avenue, and we have other agencies reaching out to us with other cases and stuff that we are doing follow-up on. We will continue to follow up on those.
Are you aware of that case?
Actually, I had a tip come in on that case, and I forwarded it to our tip line.
Okay, one more question. Can you confirm the bodies have been released to the families or are being so released today?
I believe they have been released to the family, and I know that I believe one of them has already had a funeral.
Destiny Martin with the LCSC Path.
Did you guys hear about that case that they're talking about? I bet people are looking into it now just to figure out if there's any comparisons in terms of motive and all that other stuff to it.
Finder, can you lend any insights into the possibility that the murder weapon is linked to the ROTC program? And also you mentioned that the analysis unit is here. Will we be able to hear anything from them about a working profile they possibly have? And on that note, have you guys ruled out the possibility that the killer might be a female?
So we look at every avenue. We're looking at every group of people. Like I said,
That's a
earlier
lot
in
of
our
questions.
first, press conference. We're not going to let any stone go unturned. I believe. Can you just clarify your second portion of that question? Of the BAU, sorry.
Yes, I would like to know if the BAU has a working profile because you look at victimology. Sure. Are you able to tell us who was killed first on the time of death so that we may understand who was, if it was a targeted attack, it would make the most sense if they killed one of the roommates first and then maybe the other two.
Ooh.
I know
Sure.
this is not speculation, I'm getting off topic. My question is are you guys looking at a working profile? Have they come up with anything new regarding the motive or intentions of the killer or killers?
The BAU unit is working diligently to do what they do. Will that be provided? I'm sure that may be provided once the conclusion of this case comes together. But they are continually taking in information.
Sally, I didn't think it was ROTC as well. This is a lot, that part. So maybe looking into ROTC programs in that area? What do you guys think?
And reading reports and gathering information for that.
Good afternoon, Chief. Amanda Rowley with Crime 2. Seeing some speculation with some of the cars being searched this past week. Wonder if you can squash some of the rumors and that speculation. Is there anything you can share specifically on the white car out front, and then a follow-up for the university?
So I'll have Captain Lanier go ahead and come up with that.
Thank you.
Well, we have looked at a lot of different vehicles. I'm assuming you're referring to the vehicles that were in the parking lot at the time. Yeah, so some of those vehicles belonged to the victims and some belonged to other people in the house. And so for us, that's part of the crime scene. As I mentioned earlier, the crime scene was expanded out through the parking lot. So we wanted to make sure that we looked at those prior to releasing the crime scene. It was part of the initial investigation that night.
Thank you. And for the university, is there any additional information at this time that you can offer about the candlelight vigil, maybe what we can expect from that? And then any other information you can provide about that ask of the community to light the night on November 30th?
All right, thank you for that. I'm going to turn this over to Blaine Eccles at this point. He's actually planning the whole event.
Good afternoon. I'm Blaine Eccles, Dean of Students. The vigil is going to be hosted next Wednesday, November 30th at 5 p.m. We have it scheduled for the administration lawn at the moment. We're going to make a final determination on location early next week, just because we're waiting for the weather window to get closer, so we feel comfortable that that's where it will be located. We're anticipating a large turnout of community members as well as university members, students, faculty, and staff at that particular event. And all of the families have been invited to join us if they so wish from that aspect of it. The response has just been absolutely beautiful and overwhelming to the love that has been provided to the institution as well as the family members. The Light the Night event that you're talking about, while I don't have a lot of details on that, is set to coincide at the same time, just so that people that can be here in person as part of the vigil are going to be able to participate remotely as well. The vigil will be live streamed, and it's safe to say that the Vandal family is going to unite and come together to support the families in the darkest moments of their life, quite frankly.
So I'm going to go ahead and take 2 more questions, okay?
Jordan Smith, KXLY. At this point in time, do investigators know which entrance the suspect used to enter the residence? If this was someone who might have known the door code at the front or maybe used a back door?
Once again, that's part of our investigation. We're not going to release that information this time. Thank you.
There's a lot of questions people have. I mean, I have a lot of questions
No,
too.
Baltimore News 8. You said this was a targeted event. You won't tell us why they were targeted. What should students do to prevent being targeted in the future?
Wow.
Well, that's a great question, especially in light of what just happened. If you would have asked us 9 days ago, we would have had probably a different answer. Moscow's always been a very safe community. In light of this, and maybe we should always look at it this way, vigilance, always traveling in pairs, knowing where you're going, telling someone when you arrive, and just that kind of general awareness. Maybe we should, as a community, have always been doing that. You know, in some ways, this took our innocence. I would tell students that you need to stay with a friend. I know that the university staff is looking at different options to increase some of the safety on campus and providing certain options to students. So yeah, going forward, there's a lot of things that maybe we wish we would have done before, but we need to start doing now.
So I'm going to go ahead and close, but what we do want to let our community know that we do care. We do want to provide a safe environment. We will continue to work hard and we'll continue to do everything we can. We want people to be vigilant. We want people to report anything suspicious to us and let us get there and handle it. But we are here to provide that safety. So I want to thank you today for coming, and I appreciate your questions.
So another conference, not a lot of information, maybe some clarifying information here and there, but I still don't feel like we have a lot. What do you guys think in the comments? I guess we'll see kind of what happens. Frat house, party, drug. It could have been drug related. It could have been targeted. The weapon that we were hearing about, an ROTC program. It's a lot of information and a lot of things to think about. I'm going to have to head out because I got Baby Bunny awake. But I want to thank everybody for coming in and showing support. Thank you guys for holding me accountable to the like button. Thank you so much. Thank you again for all the new members. And let me make sure we do some rabbit twerking before I head out because I did promise that. Let me go ahead and do that right now. Where did it go? There, I got a lot of stuff up. Here we go, guys. This is for you guys. Yes, it's a lot. Well, I hope you guys have a great, safe holidays. Stay safe. Stay around good people. Surround yourself with your loved ones. And overall, just eat. Eat as much as you can. Do what you got to do. Rabbits out, guys. Bye.